You know, I just noticed that I'm kind of doing like a Larry King pose here with my shoulders way up.
There you
Should
go.
probably readjust my chair. But anyway, hi, welcome to the Tuesday night music show. And we've got a nice host of folks here tonight. A whole bunch of people from all over the place. And I was thinking about something today that I thought Jay might have some fun with. Specifically, maybe John, and maybe Damon, maybe Brian, but Jay definitely is going to have fun with this. You know what I was thinking about? When we talk about, like, the golden age of music, like when, like, the band was the thing. Like, bands
John
really
Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
before John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
Oh.
Even before that.
Oh.
Before music video.
Yep.
What did most bands have in common before music video?
Groupies. I mean, besides groupies.
They all toured.
Huh?
Went on tour.
They did.
Oh, yeah.
They did have that in common, but there's something they had in common that, like, the bands in the 80s didn't necessarily have.
I think it was the amount of music that they had to put out on a constant basis. Album a year, tour, album, tour, album,
consistency.
Tour.
Yeah.
Like a band.
Bands weren't doing that.
Like even, bands in the 80s, even the 90s to an extent. 70s for sure, 60s for sure. But 70s and 80s, it did still happen. The really good bands all had this one thing in common. The really good bands.
In the 70s had this in common.
In the 80s and in the 90s. In the 70s, most bands had this. In the
80s, 90s, they definitely.
It happened, but it wasn't as common. The really good bands had this one thing in common.
Some sort of a marketing campaign.
You know what it was, Shay? When you really think about it? They were all very ugly.
Okay.
Think about it.
Hence video.
Think about your favorite band and think about members of the band.
Right.
They weren't attractive people because they didn't have to be on.
Well, I think in the 70s, there's women that would argue about Robert Plant and Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and Mick Jagger. And
I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about Iron Maiden.
Yeah, they're not a.
I mean, Bruce Dickinson isn't a bad-looking guy, but the rest of the band, oh my God.
Well, Meatloaf wasn't the best-looking guy either.
No, Meatloaf,
and he was a large character.
Larger than life.
Yeah, Elton John. I mean, he had a face for radio, really.
Yeah. Well, and okay, if you do it that way, I think where it changed dramatically was the Duran Durans.
Right, the age of video, where the bands were pretty now.
Yeah.
But they also
bands in the 70s and the 60s.
No, but they made themselves that way. Like,
have you seen Ringo Starr?
Yeah, no, not a handsome guy.
No, cool guy, and the beard helped, but come on.
Well, we all saw what happened when Kiss took the makeup off.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, what was that, 84?
Kiss Unmasked? Well, yeah, that was early 80s.
Yeah.
Early 80s.
It didn't matter. When they took that makeup off, we was like, this is Kiss? What the fuck?
I mean, Paul Stanley kind of looks like, the lady next door, but the rest of these cats, woof.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons scared the shit out of me. I mean, I was like,
I mean, Freddie Mercury was in most or some people's eyes a handsome individual and a great frontman.
Right.
But yeah, if you look at Black Sabbath, not a band of lookers.
Ozzy was kind of a good-looking young guy.
That didn't last, though.
Didn't last.
No.
Beauty fades. Yeah.
Because it was content over the appearance. It was, oh my God, I love Stairway to Heaven. I couldn't care less what they look for. And I'll prove it.
My point.
Mountain. Yeah. Leslie West, considered one of the greatest guitar players of all time, super influential, Mississippi Queen, an amazing song. You want to really go dance with that guy? He's about 3'10", 5'5", not a handsome individual, but
the guy I mention all the time, man. Randy Bachman.
Yeah.
Guess who? Bachman Turner Overdrive. He had like 11 number one hits that he wrote.
Yeah.
Nobody to look at. Cool guy. But
I think it's a 70s phenomenon because 60s '60s made it work for them. You know, you look at like Starship, Stones.
They tried in the 60s.
Well, they made an effort.
Yeah.
They wore matching outfits, or
right? The Beatles.
I mean, even though the Dead are not an attractive band.
Okay, let's talk about the Beatles for a minute. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Beatles, go on Ed Sullivan, and it's in black and white for one, like I am right now, which covers all my zits and wrinkles and crap for the most part. And they're in suits, and they've got relatively neat haircuts compared to what was happening in the late 60s. So they're very presentable.
Right.
Yeah. Paul and John aren't like, terrifying looking individuals, but
no.
But George was young and thin and awkward, but the black and white hit a lot of it. And now you start getting into the Woodstock era and things going into color. And I mean, David Bowie, I love David Bowie, and David Bowie got better looking the older he got. But David Bowie had British teeth. So I don't know how else to say it.
But he had a style. He was 5-6 years ahead of everybody on style.
Always.
You look at the early '80s when he was like in the cool suits with like the slick backside hair and the long on the top. It's like, he was telling us what it was going to look like in 4 or 5 years when the '80s really hit.
So I'm going to ask Brian, because Brian's favorite song, I know what it is, and I know the band. The band is Slade.
Brian's favorite song is from Slade?
Yes. Brian's favorite song is Run, Run Away by Slade.
Yes.
Really?
It's his
Good for
favorite
you,
song.
Brian.
It is.
I'm thinking of the guys from Slade.
Handsome.
Very handsome, right, Brian?
Lead singer, Naughty. What's the singer, Brian? Naughty.
What?
They all look like
they were very glam rock when they were doing Come On Feel the Noise and stuff.
Yeah, but so was Sweet. None of them were very good looking.
Yeah,
Naughty something is the lead singer's name, right?
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's not like Notty something. Lead singer of Slade.
It's the guy you hand the coins to under the bridge so you can go over it.
Right, he's that guy. Yeah. He lives under the bridge, too.
You're not far off.
No. But the reason I'm not trying to hate on anybody, what I'm saying is that, we had some great music, but then you added this image thing to it. So in some ways, I feel like maybe the music suffered because the band members had to have a look. And they were more worried about this thing, which I feel like is probably very superficial. The music is the most important thing, but that wasn't. You had to have the look. This weird thing that really isn't important. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I was thinking about trends that DJs are into right now, and I'm wondering how important they really are. Okay, so they just had the big DJ convention here in town, and I guess there were some DJs that went on last night, and the critique I got from someone who attended, who is a DJ, obviously, is that there were several that went up on stage, and there were one or two that did really amazing sets. They had thought them out, and they did a lot of wordplay stuff.
Pre-programmed them in like Ableton or another program.
I'm not assuming.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm just telling you.
They did the wordplay thing.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple DJs who were like, me too. They go up on stage and they attempt the wordplay thing. And the critique I got was, it felt like they weren't playing to us. They were playing to themselves.
Yes.
They weren't worried about what we wanted. They weren't worried about if the songs that had the interesting wordplay together were necessarily the songs to play for the audience that was in front of them. And I thought that was a super interesting observation.
I saw a bunch of videos from that show. Yeah, and it's a pissing match. And they had the video. Well, what I'm saying is this. They showed video of the DJ, but then they went behind him and showed the crowd. And you had, 40, 50, 60 guys and some girls just standing on the dance floor in front. And I learned this the hard way probably 20 years ago.
No.
The worst audience you can ever perform for are DJs.
Yeah.
I will go to my grave with this statement.
Yeah.
The absolute worst crowd you can play in front of is DJs.
You can have DJs in a crowd, but if you have a crowd of DJs,
it sucks. I don't care if they've been drinking, drugging, it doesn't matter. Because they can't stop staring and going, I would do better, I wouldn't have done that, or I would have done this. And I get that, but it's like, if I was playing in front of DJs, I'd be playing like Hold On Loosely by 38 Special, and you'd suddenly notice everyone was like, oh, I haven't heard this in a minute, I love this song. Like, don't do wordplay, don't, what are you playing, a wedding set? Are you playing what you play at a club? It's a very difficult crowd to deal with.
A group of male DJs is very difficult to play for.
Right, that's a really good point. It's a very good point, because you got a bunch of dudes, but they're not going to dance together. I mean, usually. Not in that setting.
Nope. And you just stare. You get into the song. But I did this in South Dakota. Last year, I was at 7 or 8 shows, and every one of them had this component of, hey, here's, Brian S. Red, John Colley, Damon, Brian K., here's our 7 DJs that I don't know. And they get up, and they are trying their best to put on what can only be described as peak hour, LA, Vegas, Tokyo, London, New York, Miami, biggest club you have, and there's 45 people. And we're all standing there, and it's like, I get it. Like, you're showing off.
Right.
But it's done in such a way sometimes. And I mean, Mex is a good example. They have that big DJ night that used to be the Takeover, where DJs legitimately mixed and played music. Now what it's become is, here's my set. And I've talked to guys and girls that have played it, so I'm not talking out of school. 99% of it is, I already made this set. I did this at home. I perfected it. It's running on a track. I'm adding filters, I'm adding this and that, or I'm adding tracks. But, put it this way. Are you willing to stand up in front of your peers and go cold at a trade show? Yes. Chances are, yes, you are, I am, Brian, John. I've gone cold at X, I've gone cold at different places.
I don't like it.
But the majority of people, if the opportunity was there to do a set before, they would take it. And I don't blame them for that. That's why I don't like those quote-unquote competitions, quote-unquote all-star reviews. You know what? Get up and play something I actually like.
Well, I mean, I've been asked by several people to play at events like this. Even John has asked me to play at events like this. And I've always said no. I have no interest in playing in front of DJs. That doesn't turn me on at all. What's it going to do?
But that's the problem. But that's inherently who we are. There's a lot of jokes on the internet about,
and I understand that. I'm not hating on anybody for feeling that way, but that's the reality of it.
But that 100%, that's the reality of it. It'd be like if you were a mechanic and you went out that night on a date with your girlfriend and she took you to a garage and a guy was doing a tune-up on an old Chevy. You can't help yourself but go, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way. Right. You can't help yourself. This is why
I can.
Put it this way. I've DJ'd at medical conferences. You know what they don't have? Surgery. You know what you're never going to see at a medical conference? Let's take his appendix out. It ain't going to happen. Yeah.
It's been a while since
seminars.
I wouldn't have done it that way. I could have got it out quicker.
Well, that's it. It's like we stand alone on this. We're trying our best to do the greatest job we can, which I've always found in my career, the second my brain says, you got to kill this, it starts to become personal. It starts to become, I'm going to do this, this, and this, because I'm supposedly reading the crowd. When you compete at a DJ conference, you're not only not reading the crowd because you made your set ahead of time. Dude, hundreds of shows. Nobody shows up and goes like this. Oh man, what do I do now? What should I play? They show up with, here is my set. I think this will go over well for DJs. I think they'll be impressed. I think they'll like it. Yada, yada, yada. I don't think there's ever a moment where they just wing it. And I don't blame them. They're trying to get a name for themselves. They're trying.
Does anybody ever wonder what would happen if I just never cut Jay off? Like, if I just let him go and I never interrupted him.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Yeah, time's up.
Yeah. Well, one of these nights I might just not say anything. And I'll just see how long he goes. And
I can go. You and I did the chill room, and I said to John Young, so how long are we in the chill room for? He's like, 8 hours. I'm like, okay, I can talk for 8 hours. I literally said to him in a Zoom, yeah, that's fine. I can go 8 hours, like without a thought about anything. I'm like, I'll just keep showing up with topics. I'm good.
My point was going to be with this whole thing that I kind of felt like I feel like what I'm seeing is a lot of DJs are just trying to emulate their heroes instead of just doing something unique and doing their art. I understand that you must emulate and copy when you are trying to find yourself as an artist. Everyone does it, whether it be a guitar player, a singer, you're a banjo player, I don't care who you are. Well, if you're an architect, you're designing, you're taking inspiration from others. We've talked in exhaustion about songs that were inspired by their songs from before and styles and techniques and things. We've talked about this a lot. Jay always brings up Robert Johnson when we talked about this. But yeah, that's cool to learn that way. I think it's great. I think it's weird if you're just only trying to emulate and you're not trying to develop your own thing. And just because someone else is doing it, I don't know that you necessarily need to. I don't know. It just feels like this is art. There's no one way to do it. I think
it's harder with DJs.
There is. I don't know.
Like, if you get 5 guitar players, you say, play something. If you're knowledgeable about other guitar players, you can say, oh, this guy's a huge Van Halen fan. This guy's a huge Randy Rhoads fan. This guy's a huge Clapton fan.
Right.
You can point to the specifics. I don't know that that's the case with DJs. I haven't listened to a guy do a gig and go, man, he loves Danny Tenaglia. That guy's a huge Carl Cox fan. Like,
well,
because
what about the ones who are just doing wordplay because that's the thing to do now?
Well, but that's it. That's specific to if they copy Qbert on scratches, or if they do like Even Steve or these other wordplay cats. That's that's different. I did wordplay the other night on like 3 different tracks.
I did wordplay.
It went over huge.
Born, but.
Now it had a name, yeah.
And now everyone must do it. It's like, okay, this
because it's the flavor of the day. It just is. Like, the flavor of the day in weddings is, look, I just did Nicki Minaj and Daft Punk. I did it the other night.
I get it. I just think I don't know, it's one thing to try something and see how it goes. It's another thing to, that's what I have to do now. And the danger is, I think you're not doing it as well as your hero's doing it. If someone does it good, like really well, that's their thing. If you can do it, but you're not moving the audience in front of you with what you're doing, it's self-serving, and your audience isn't feeling it, and maybe you shouldn't do that anymore. We're artists. We should develop a style.
Yeah, it's just another tool in the toolbox.
It's a Me Too thing. That's why every band doesn't sound like Aerosmith, and every band doesn't sound like Def Leppard. No band sounds like Def Leppard, but Def Leppard. I'm sure they had inspiration of things, that came before them, but they're unique. They're very unique.
I don't think DJs are. I don't think we're that unique.
But you know what? Now that I'm
just
thinking
going to
about
say
it,
I don't. As a wedding mobile DJ, I don't think my style is unique to anything or anyone else.
okay, I will argue you with that because I know your style is unique. Because your style is unique.
That might be unique. Yes.
No, of course it is. No one can do that like you can.
Right.
No one can storytell like you can. You can storytell like off the cuff, and you're funny. And yeah, I mean, no, don't discount.
But I think no. I think the mixing wise, Brian. I think the
oh well.
I think where you're unique is your choice. Like I've said this before, and we've had this discussion. If I'm playing "Beat It" by Michael Jackson or "Billie Jean" by Michael Jackson, I can think of 4, 5, 6, 7 songs I could go to. But if I went around this room right now, I might hear one song from each of you that isn't on my list of 7 songs. Sure. That's the uniqueness is, oh, wow. It's like when Hey Ya came out by Outkast, and somebody turned me on to going, oh, no, you know what you do? Pitch down 5, go up 3, and mix into Mickey by Mickey, Tony Basil. It's like, wait, really? Oh, my God, this is perfect. That became a style.
But see, okay, this is what I'm talking about. If it works, that's great. But and we've had this conversation before, and this is the part that this is the critique I was getting from last night. The mix was fine. The programming wasn't great.
Right.
Because the words played together didn't mean we necessarily wanted to hear that song that they were coming into or going out of. They were forcing it for wordplay purposes, not for vibe, not for, hey, this is what the audience wants to hear in front of them. It was being forced. If you feel like your audience really wants to hear Hey Ya and Mickey, great. But if you feel like maybe Mickey is not the next song to play for them, maybe you don't do that. You know what I mean? Maybe
I agree with that.
So I'm not going to do that. But a lot of DJs would just say, oh, well, Mickey is the one to play, so I'm just going to play it.
Well, I think it's because they came up with their set ahead of time. They're not reading the crowd. They have shown up to perform, and hence they have a set. If you get a band, and they're a metal band, and I say, hey, guys, I'm going to give you a 30-minute showcase, they're going to do what they feel they do best and strongest and their best tracks. If you get a DJ and go, hey, do you want to play at DJ X in August? Yeah, man, I'll do it. Great, you have a 20-minute set. Now the game is, what can I do to impress DJs? You're not thinking about the room. You're just thinking about kind of the motive. You're thinking about the outcome.
Hop in here on just one quick thing. Yeah. Well, there's two schools of thought of this. It's like either you're going to play a bunch of cool songs that the DJs haven't heard in a minute, or you're going to put on a performance piece. You're either going to demonstrate your skills, show people that you can do all these tricks and whatever, or you're going to do something that's uniquely creative with your program. I mean, that's really the two choices. Or a little blend of both would even be nice. You're playing.
I think a blend of both is ideal. I mean, if you understand the fundamentals of your transitions and mixing.
Well, I thought it was funny, like you said, that they were trying to like force these mixes. And it's okay. So the words line up, but the song sucked. It's like why? Why just to show that
we didn't want to hear it.
We didn't want to hear it.
The wordplay worked, but nobody wanted to hear that track.
Well, that's it. Maybe and
they felt it was self-indulgent. They had fun. Though you remember there were some that went up there that felt like their sets were incredibly self-indulgent.
You should learn, you should emulate the people that you like. When I started on vinyl scratching back in the day, I'd listen to the Jam Master Jay cuts. I'd try to get them. I'd put on LL Cool J. I'd listen to what Cut Creator was doing. I'd try to get that. I'd hear DST on Rocket, and I'd try to emulate those cuts. But I didn't use his routine. I didn't just start doing the Rocket scratch in the middle of a Houdini song. It just didn't make sense. But you should just have that. Be familiar with the tools in your toolbox that you can call that up.
I don't know. I was just thinking of a ridiculous wordplay. Flowers, Miley Cyrus, and to Tiny Tim's Tiptoe to the Toilet.
Like you were like Dead Flowers from Stones or something. It's like, they both said flowers. It's like
I can buy myself tulips. It's like nobody wanted to hear Tiny Tim, but
no, I get you. But that's it, and it's making the decision. So they know they're going to an expo. They know it's going to be a lot of high influencer DJs with cameras on, and it's going to be all over Instagram. I think they opted to put on a show versus pick better music. That see me, notice me, look at my cuts, look at the way I'm doing this.
They're playing at the crowd. They're not playing for the crowd. They're playing at the crowd.
They're playing for future views of people that weren't there to say, let's see what these DJs did. And I'm sure they put on some great routines. Like you said, some were stellar, some left something to be desired. But that's, when you build it, you figure out which direction you're going to take.
I have experienced the mixing styles of two specific DJs in this room, and I was impressed by both. And it's Brian K. and Damon.
I was going to say, I knew Brian K. would be one of.
Yeah. I was going
Atlantic City.
I saw him in LA do a night with video, and I was talking to Nick Hahn, and I was grooving. I'm like, I don't know who this DJ is, but man, I am enjoying every song they're playing. And the transitions are great, the vibe's great, the energy's good. Who the hell is this DJ? I look up and it's freaking Brian.
Yeah, Brian's good mixer.
Murdering it. It was so good.
Yeah.
And he didn't cut anything too short. He didn't run anything too long. There were no duds in there. It was all with music video, too. He did a great job.
Nice.
And then, like, Damon, I've watched his live sets that he does. And they're really good. I mean, I like the song selection. I like the mixing style. And I was going to ask you, Damon, when you're doing those live stream mixes and you're not on location, is that the same type of thing you would do at a bar or a club? Or is it something different?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Like this past Saturday night, I played pretty much 2.5 hours of freestyle. So it was just like, wow. so I had the crowd there, and I can do that,
Right.
But sometimes when I'm at home, I just zone out and just whatever I want to play, I just play, and just have fun.
You go longer when you're in front of an audience because you do a lot of quick mix stuff, like verse, bridge, chorus, out. I've noticed.
Yeah, it varies. Sometimes I may go 2 verses and out. Yeah, mainly it's 2 verses and out, just because I know audience get bored sometimes, especially at a lot of bars. Especially around here, because we do the mix shows are a lot of quick mixing. So it's like 2 verses and out here. So
when you're doing this. And I'm almost asking rhetorical questions here. I know your answers already, but I want you to share your philosophy. When you are playing a track and you ask yourself, do I cut it after the chorus and go into the next song, or do I let it run another verse chorus? What types of things are you thinking about before you make that decision?
Oh man, that's a good question. I never asked that before. I really don't think. Sometimes I just go. I mean, I go feeling. I'm a big feeling DJ.
Are you? So, but what's giving is I'm assuming the feeling is the audience.
Yeah,
and the vibe.
Yeah,
you're playing to the audience.
I'm playing to the audience.
They're ready for another one. They want another one.
Yes.
I never like cutting it short. If they're vibing to it, I don't like cutting it short. I don't like taking something away from them. Why? Why do that? Why? You know what I mean?
But I will say this. Sometimes
stay here.
I will say this. Sometimes I will let songs play a lot longer, especially if there's like a good verse that everybody wants to sing.
Right.
So I'm not gonna cut it then. But if the first and second verse are really good, and the third verse is just so-so, it's like, okay, I'm out.
Right.
But if that third verse is like, I know it's a big hook, a big line that everybody wants to sing, I'm gonna let that play.
Coming in engine number 9, like I'm not cutting that short either.
Yeah, you
like,
can't cut that
playing
short.
that whole thing.
Right.
So yeah. But like I said, I go off feeling a lot, and then attention span, because like I said, a lot of the mix show DJs here, a lot of quick mixing.
Yeah. I hate quick mixing.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Especially, and then when I'm doing like my stuff on live stream, I'm only going to play for an hour. So I'm like, I'm going to try to get as much in of all these bangers I can get in an hour. So
my brain does not work as fast as you mix. I admit it. I mean, because when I'm listening to your mixes that you stream, it's just occurred to me what you're playing, well, that's really good. I'm gonna savor this for a sec. Oh no,
Gone.
it's over. we're doing Dindada now. Okay, and 2 minutes later, somehow we're doing Britney Spears. I don't know how the hell that happened, but it did. It just
Look at it this way, Brian. Think about a restaurant. I'm gonna give you the Tapas restaurant. So you're gonna get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that.
yeah.
And I'm gonna keep it moving.
But I think that becomes the style. I think it's what you see and expect, and that's where I know John does this, I do this, I think Damon does it. That's where Twitch becomes so beneficial. Because you can have a night of like, wow, I just saw 2 hours of Jay playing funk that I haven't heard. Mm-hmm. That doesn't look like him, but it becomes his style. And he just played death metal, and okay, that's his style. And you expand. That's why I can't stand playing at conferences, because it just becomes a, hey, everyone, look at me thing. It doesn't ever become hey, here's some music. That night I played at the Hilton. That was that was 100% a good example of how to play to the crowd. Because it's like, here's a metal crowd, Jay.
I guess we're gonna play some metal. We're gonna do some Ozzy.
But the other three DJs, no names, but the other three were playing YMCA and stuff that you would play at a wedding. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? No, that's Kerry King of Slayer walking in front of you. Do not play the YMCA. But it's like no. That's the beauty of it. And so, but it would be interesting as a way of not sounding, short or, omnipotent about all of this. If you said to me, you have to play at DJX, you have to. You're doing a 20-minute set, main stage, 2,000 people, you have to play. Then, to me, my only job would be, okay, these are all DJs. Let me find mixes they may not know. I played X probably 10 years ago, and I played a Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, house remix, where it drops into his 104 version. I played a Jefferson Starship remix. What's that?
No, Eric's echoing.
Oh. I mean, I played stuff that I was like, when I walk off stage, what I want to hear is, dude, what song was that? What song was that? Because as a DJ playing for DJs, I want to look knowledgeable. I can't mix as well as everyone in the crowd. I know that. So therefore, I need to show up with content that maybe the crowd doesn't have. The problem I have with the videos I've seen about the trade show this week, they were playing stuff that was relatively brand new, but they were all weird remixes. It was like, here's a brand new Miguel track, but here's a Scooter remix or a so-and-so remix. And it's like, that song came out a month ago, 3 weeks ago. I just as soon play my Scooter remix from 15 years ago of Shipping Off to Boston, because DJs would hear that and go, oh my God, if I ever have a crowd from Boston, this is the only track I need. I think what we're supposed to do as DJs is to spread knowledge and information, because I've definitely heard you and John and Brian and everyone else play somewhere and gone, I don't know this song. And that's the beauty of music. You can't know it all.
Did you like it?
That's the thing. I did.
And that's
the point of doing the set, is you walk away going, oh my God, that was awesome, dude. What was that?
Give them something they can feel. Give them something we can feel.
Do you know who Lazy Boy is?
I got an In Vogue flashback going here.
Right. If you know who Lazy Boy is, I saw Lazy Boy in San Francisco when he won the Red Bull 3-Style. It was him, Dynamics, Buck Rogers, and like 3 other DJs, and Lazy Boy's set won. He played like some off-the-beaten-path yacht rock tracks that blew me away. He played funk tracks I'd never heard. I Shazammed his whole set. I was like, what the? and it's on YouTube. And when he was all done after playing for like, I think it's a 12-minute set or a 15-minute set, I literally, my mouth was on the floor. This guy was doing stuff. It wasn't heavy scratching. It was manipulating. It was juggling. It was wordplay. It was weird tracks. I just walked away going, oh my gosh, I could do 3/4 of what he just did if I incorporated that into my set. I'm a superstar. I don't think DJs walked away in Milwaukee going, oh my gosh, if I incorporated 3/4 of what that DJ just did, I'd be better. And I think that's what it comes down to.
I didn't see any of it. I just saw some still shots.
I saw a bunch of videos. I'm speaking legitimately.
I
you
got
were
some
playing
feedback,
some cool remixes. What's next? You're going to set up your gear in a suit? I mean, this is the problem in the market.
Oh my God,
this is the problem in the market space.
What did I say?
Oh, that's right. I'm being positive.
Oh my God.
No, I think we all agree it's the worst crowd to play to. But
100%. The most judgmental crowd to play to.
Yes. But it's also the greatest opportunity you're ever going to have to really throw down something that is awe-inspiring. If I show up at NAMM and Ace Frehley and Joel Hoekstra and 12 other guitar players are holding guitars and they go, here, play something, I have to immediately make a decision. Do I play a beautiful soliloquy in a classic vein? Do I do tapping? Do I do what do I do?
I'm kidding.
Because I want to play something they don't know, or I want to play something they do know and play it better than they think. With a DJ, I mean, we're playing someone else's music, folks. It's not that difficult. But the game is, and this is the thing that Brian brought up earlier, it comes down to one simple fact. We get paid to read the crowd. 40 people standing still on a dance floor at a conference in Milwaukee is not a crowd.
No.
I played to a crowd the other night. I had to read them. I had to play to them. If you're playing in front of other DJs, you're just giving them what you think is cool. And that's
I don't understand. I personally do not understand playing a self-indulgent set anywhere other than your bedroom.
No, but that's the thing.
I don't know why else.
What do you want to hear? I'd like to hear cool wordplay. I would. I did 2 wordplays the other night. I haven't done a wordplay at a wedding ever. I got 2 things that worked. I played them the other night. They were really cool. They went over really well. I was very happy. It's more tools in my toolbox. That's all.
Well, John, you brought up wordplay a few years ago here on the show, I believe.
Yeah, it was just
you know why? You know where wordplay started, Brian? You know where wordplay started? Boston. So,
of course.
It's like cutting in words from other songs. That's probably Grandmaster Flash. That probably goes back as far as him. I mean, that was...
Yeah. Well, yeah,
from Roxbury.
Still had a little bit of that in there.
Taking bits of different songs and, as far as the creativity level of it, it's accelerated now because the technology is better. You can lock the records in key, you can isolate the parts you want. It's easier to stitch it together than it was just straight raw on vinyl like it was back then. But you should at least be somewhat familiar with it, know that it exists, and not just overlook it. Again, it's a tool in the toolbox.
It's a tool in the toolbox.
It's like the Dynamite Tayo Cruz, right? On and on and on, and then you kick in Journey and then start Journey from the beginning.
I did that the other night.
Was that one of yours?
Yeah. I did that the other night.
That's a hard one to do. I mean, that's a good one to practice with, But it's again, it's just you hear something in a song and you're like, I know that line. That's also in this song. Now, if both songs are good, work on something. If one song's just really random and archaic and obsolete, then don't bother. Practice it, but it's not something you're going to play in public in front of people unless you just want to say, I found this quirky wordplay no one cares about.
There's something that I heard in a movie years ago and it stuck with me. I don't even know what movie it was.
Das Boot?
No, it was not in German. I don't believe.
All right, just ask.
But I've repeated. I said it to at least 2 people in the last few days, and they both looked at me like I was some great philosopher. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
You need a license to fish, you need a license to drive, but any a-hole can
that
become
was
a parent.
Parenthood. That was Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Talking to like Mary Steen version.
I thought we were playing send a quote.
I'm just thinking I know exactly where that's from. But I don't know where just because you can doesn't mean you should came from. I don't remember. But
it's a great
I think
quote.
about that a lot.
It's true.
Yes, you can mix this song into this song, and the wordplay is funny. And I can do it, but should I do it?
Yeah.
This is the question that I think that perhaps we should ask ourselves. And I'm not discouraging anybody from trying anything new. I don't want to do that. I think you should try everything, and you should try it on and see how it works for you. But I would just caution against trying to be your favorite DJ. Trying to do it exactly like they do it. That's a Me Too. That's not authentic. That's not original. Be you, you know? Just be you.
But understand that your job, for the most part, is always going to be to read a crowd in front of you.
Yeah.
So therefore, when you get to a place where you're doing a pre-done set, if it's pre-done, if you've sat down and said, all right, I'm playing, I have to do my set. And I think 100% of DJs that do shows do their set ahead of time. Not a club set, but a conference. I think they know exactly the order of the tracks, the whole deal.
They probably do.
Because it only makes sense. Why wouldn't you? Because you want to look good in front of DJs.
Yeah, of course. But
this is
wanted to look good.
Right, that's the catch-22.
Like a band rehearsing songs. Yeah, it's the same thing.
You don't want to look good at a wedding. You want to do good at a wedding. You don't want to look good.
That's a really interesting point.
You want to do good. It's a difference.
Something else I was thinking about, too, and I bet you guys can all agree with this. If you pick a wedding audience, just a particular wedding audience, and let's say I DJ, and it goes over really well. People are very happy. I'm aware that there are infinite amount of ways this could have gone and worked, but I did it
100%.
this way. It doesn't mean that it had to be done that way and any other way would have failed. It means that there's a lot of really great ways this could have happened. I just happened to do it the way I did it. And on the flip side of things, there's an infinite amount of ways it could have been done wrong. You could have screwed it up a lot of ways.
Yep.
So, yeah, man. I mean...
Well, that's my point about you're playing, Billie Jean. And I say to you, you have a full dance floor, Brian, at a wedding. There's 50 people on a dance floor out of 100. It's crushing. You're playing Billie Jean.
Crushing.
What do you play next?
If it's crushing,
I would do this. I would do this. I would do that. But each of us has a different answer, and the only way to find out if you're right or wrong is to do the gig.
And it's interesting too. Something else that I will.
You can't say I'm right by playing Cake by the Ocean, and you're playing another Michael Jackson. We can't decipher right from wrong because we're not there.
It's different gigs, different crowds too. What works for one might not work for the other.
Right. Without a crowd, it doesn't matter. Like, we've had those crowds where we played, I'm playing Billie Jean, it's just not working. Then I jump into Journey, not working. Then out of nowhere I go, I'm going to play this random 105 BPM song, and everyone jumps out. And you're like, okay, you're leading me. Now my job is to follow you until I control you. And once I control you, now I read the crowd and I see where to take you. I mean,
right. Yeah.
My thought.
Yeah, play to your audience, man, and don't be self-indulgent, and don't try to be your hero. Don't try to be your favorite influencer. Just be you. That's all. Let's put a fork in it. Eric said that we need to unplug Jay, because. But he's
got two things in the
out,
screen.
That's all. Yeah,
he's got two things in the screen. What's he know?
Yeah, Eric's like, we got double the.
You need to unplug him. I don't have a system. Get me my Chesterfields.
They're in my car. Careful. In the trunk you go. Careful. They're in my car. Get
the RAV4 in the driveway. I need a
This
Winston.
Lincoln's really comfortable. Yeah, be in the trunk of the Lincoln if you keep it up.
This is Corinthian leather.
All right, kids. We'll see you next week.
Sponsors.
Good night. Oh yeah, them guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are here brought to you by DJ Vin Planner. Check out DJ Vin Planner in the description of this video, as well as other links to our other sponsors. You may